People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, we are back. And this week we got one of the coolest guys I've ever met in my life. This guy came out of nowhere and we talked like two little girls. I think 6 hours the first time. And then the next year, I didn't even know his last name. I'm looking on everybody's name tag. I'm looking for Glen. I fell in love with the dude. I mean, and then I think year two, we spent 6 hours together as well. He's one of the nicest, most talented people I know. Glenn is an electrician by trade, magician as a hobby, and truly an accomplished actor who has appeared in productions including A Few Good Men, Guys and Dolls, 1776, The Secret Garden, Footloose, and many more. Everybody, it's Glenn Macken. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Wow.
Hey, nice to see you guys.
Dude, I am so excited about today. I'm telling you, it was a weird thing, man. We clicked so hard. I felt like I'd known you all my life. It was an awesome start to a friendship. I was like, I don't even know this dude's last name, but I love him. So tell me, I don't know anything about your magic. Are you just a hobbyist? What is your love of magic?
So I love it all. I mean, I love to watch it. I especially like the historical aspects of it. I mean, I have probably over 2,000 books on magic. I read constantly about magicians in the past and also the present. I follow a bunch of chat groups on magic and belong to SAM and IBM. As far as practicing magic, I did more of that when I was younger. Probably started out, as we all did, I started out by seeing the movie Houdini and the Tony Curtis movie, the 1953 movie, and fell in love with the character. Loved the movie, probably watched it as many times as I could. I remember one time we were supposed to go to a baseball game to watch my brother play, and I feigned sickness just so I could stay home and watch the movie again. And but my school library had a few good books on magic. One was Walter Gibson's book of Houdini on magic and escapes. And I signed the book out, and I don't think I returned it for over a year. So I had to pay major book fines, but I loved the book. So that was my beginning of magic. And then we had a bookstore in the mall. I think it was B. Dalton's or one of those places, and I bought the Bill Tarr's books and started to learn stuff from there. And any book I could find that was available and from the library, and I would learn, small tricks and stuff. I was probably maybe 11, 12 years old. And then as I got older, I joined SAM. And I was lucky because we were in the Poughkeepsie Assembly, Al Baker Assembly number 35. And some of the members included Walter Gibson, the author of the book on Houdini, and many more books. Jeff McBride, Rudy Kobe was a member. And I used to bring Rudy because we lived only 15 minutes apart from each other. I would bring him to the meetings. And so we had quite a good group of people. And I remember, of all the questions that I could have asked Walter Gibson, my first question to him was, what did Houdini sound like? Because at that time in 1970, 77, 78, we didn't have the internet. So there was no way of knowing how Houdini spoke. And he tried to describe it to me. He said, well, it wasn't a special voice, but now I know what it sounds like. We all hear it online. But I particularly like doing close-up years ago and hanging out with Rudy. He was phenomenal. At 15 years old, I was 18, 19. He was doing stuff, incredible magic. And obviously I used to hang around with Jeff a lot because we all lived within like 5 miles of each other or 6 miles. It was a really close-knit kind of group. But Rudy would, we'd go to Tannen's, we'd take the train down, and Rudy, I would buy whatever he bought because I figured, well, if it's good, he knows. So he bought Paul Harris, Las Vegas Entertainer, I think was the name of the book. So I bought it as well, and I brought it home, and I started to learn. I could do about 3 tricks from the book. Rudy could probably do everything the first week he had the book. I mean, he was that good. So I started learning that. I enrolled in the Chavez course in magic, and it was a home study course at the time. So every month they would send you a lesson, and I started to learn, and I kind of gave it up because they focused on cigarette magic, and I grew up. One part of the lesson was cigarette magic. I mean, you could have applied it to anything, any kind of sleight of hand, but I was just like, I grew up in a house full of smokers. It just wasn't my thing, and so unfortunately, I stopped learning it. But I continued still trying to, I liked the manipulation stuff. I was learning split fans, thimble magic, coin magic, and I was developing an act about a tailor because everybody watched the David Copperfield specials where he'd do these wonderful, little scenes or vignettes.
Yeah.
And I thought I made up the magical tailor, and I had the whole idea in my mind what I wanted to do, and I was practicing, learning. But when I'd go to show somebody some of the sleights or some of the stuff from the act, I'd goof up. I was nervous. I mean, I'd freak out. But in my bedroom, I was great. I'd look in the mirror and I'd practice, about 5 hours a day. And I got together with Jeff McBride one time. I said, "Hey, Jeff, I'm having a lot of trouble." I said, "I study and I practice." I said, "But when I get in front of people, I choke." And he goes, "Well," you're probably, nervous about your body or he said, "Just take my advice, join community theater, take voice lessons, acting lessons, dance lessons." And I took his advice because, Jeff was, even though we're the same age, I look up to the guy like God, So I enrolled in dance class. I auditioned for my first community theater show was a fundraiser for a hospital in the town in which I live, Middletown, where Rudy Kobe was. So I told Rudy I was going to audition. He was like, "Well, do you think there's a part in there for a magician?" I said, I don't know. So we show up to the audition together. And I guess he found out quickly, no, there wasn't. It was like a set show. They hired a director. They bought the show. He brings in all the costumes. He directs the show. He lays out the people who are going to sing the songs, do what dances. And so there was an Elvis Presley number. And I used to sing along with Elvis when I was a kid and could do a fairly decent Elvis impersonation when I was in my teens. So I auditioned and I got the role of Elvis in the show. So that's where it started. And then I was like, wow, I do this. I rehearsed for this show for maybe 3 weeks, and you go on and you get applause, and it's like, holy crow. I'm trying to learn this magic stuff, and I love magic, don't get me wrong, for years. And 3 weeks later, I'm getting applause. It's something I've done. And, it built my confidence. And then from that show, it led to all the others. And like the first year I did shows, I think I did 7 shows in a row and was cast in lead roles. It was, so I have Jeff to thank for that. I really do. And I always tell him that.
I had no idea I'm so magic. I was thinking about this analogy the other night, and I don't know how well it was. You were already asleep, so I couldn't check it with you. But I don't even dip my toes in other things. I watch from the shoreline other hobbies. How's that for an analogy?
Okay.
But I'm so invested in magic. I like skateboarding, but I'm not, I haven't gone in 2 years. I buy the equipment, I do this, but I got to get in the car and go. I could be working on magic. I could be watching a video. I could be doing something. I could be doing something business-wise. Having somebody love theater like you, I'm like, how does he do that? Because of magic. How do you have other hobbies? There's magic, but magic got you into this, and I agree. That's okay then. I approve. No, but
Yeah.
it's so weird because you are so into magic and you know magic so well, but you have this love for theater, and I could not figure out that cross section, and it's so magic adjacent. Totally makes sense now. Yeah. Wow.
And I was lucky too because I mean, we had some great teachers in the area. I mean, I had a wonderful voice teacher who went to Juilliard, and he was an opera singer, so that's what he taught. He taught like Italian art songs, and so I discovered that I had a singing voice that I didn't know I had. And then I took dance with funny, the woman, her name was Maria Kennett. She was a ballet teacher, and it was a great class. It was very difficult, but she later became a coach for Evander Holyfield. Do you remember who he was?
Yeah, yeah.
Heavyweight champion of the world. She became his fitness coach, and he said she was the toughest coach that he'd ever had, and it was true. I mean, she would work you nonstop, and you know, she was a great lady.
Well, I
And
can't
then
imagine a fighter being light on his feet either. So they're probably more stiff to begin with. So
yes, yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah.
And then
Well,
I had a wonderful couple of acting teachers. I had a gentleman, his name was Ian McMillan, and I studied with him for about a year and a half, the Meisner Method. And then after that, I studied with a woman, Donna Haley, who was wonderful. She didn't have one specific method. She knew them all. And she'd been on Broadway in about 4 different shows. And she's still a great friend today and a mentor to me. And if I have any problems with a character I'm doing, I mean, she's one of the first people I'll call. And she's a real gift. And then I have a coach, an acting coach as well. I've done scenes with him that have been difficult for me because he's a Broadway guy too. He was in Les Mis. He was both Valjean and Javert in Les Miserables on Broadway. And he's a great guy, Philip Hernandez. I'm just going to mention his name. He's a wonderful actor, singer. Excellent, excellent.
have
Um,
you ever auditioned for movie, television, anything like
Broadway.
that? Broadway, yeah.
Years ago, so I was doing a show called Carousel, and I was playing the lead role, Billy Bigelow, and we had what they called a backers audition, where you do numbers from the show, and they'd invite business people from the community, people with money that would give money for the show, for costumes or royalties or so it was basically a fundraiser. So we did a few numbers from the show, and one of the gentlemen that came was Richard Kiley. And for those of you who don't know, Richard Kiley was the original Man of La Mancha on Broadway. He won, I believe he won the Tony Best Actor for it. I'm not sure, but incredible actor. He'd been on TV, and if you'd listened to any of the National Geographic specials, documentaries in the 70s, 80s, he was the voice of that series. But he came up to me after the show and he complimented me, and he said he had noticed in my bio that I had done a role Nanky Poo in The Mikado, which was a Gilbert and Sullivan opera, and it was a fun role. And he said that's how he started out, as Nanky Poo. And he said he went from one musical to another, and he said to me, I'm going on the road. I'm going, on the road in South Pacific. He said, you'd make a wonderful Lieutenant Cable. And I had done Lieutenant Cable prior to that. So I said, you think so? And he goes, yeah. And they said that if we're fortunate enough, we'll go on tour and we'll come to Broadway. And I said, well, I'll audition, and he said, okay. So I went and I had a friend of mine who was, actually, he knew Rudy and Jeff. He was a talent manager, and he set me up with a resume and headshots and told me what to wear, what to do, and an audition. And I went to the city. I went into the audition room and I sang On a Clear Day You Can See Forever was the name of the song. They told us to hang around and then they lined us up and they said, when I call your name, step forward. So he called my name. I stepped forward and there were about, 7 of us looking at each other and he goes, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming, you know. But they typed out basically because they wanted people who were 5, like shorter than Richard Kiley. Richard Kiley was maybe 6 foot, so they wanted him to appear. It's kind of that happens all the time. People get typed out for one reason or another. But it was just the idea that I went, and the same day that I went to that audition, I ran into a friend of mine at the South Pacific audition. She said, "Hey, Glenn, they're auditioning for Oliver for a circa 21 dinner theater in, I think it was Illinois or Ohio." So like, well, where is it? She told me and I went and I auditioned for the role of Fagin. And that's the older character. He kind of he's like the head of these boys who pick pockets and it's a great role. So they liked what I did. They told me to hang around, and then there was a dance audition, and I wasn't terrific at picking up dance, and so I didn't get it. But that was as much as I've done as far as auditioning for anything professionally. But I mean, I've gotten some professional gigs. I've done a show called Forever Plaid, which is about four guys who form a singing group as teenagers, and they are on their way to their first big gig, and they're hit by a bus full of teens, Catholic girls, on their way to see the Beatles at the Ed Sullivan Show, and it kills the Plaid. They're called the Plaids, Forever Plaid. Kills them outright. But they go to heaven and they get to come back for one final performance. It actually sounds sad, but it's not. It's a great show. It's funny, and you do like 23 numbers in an hour and a half, and it's close harmony, and it's great stuff. So we had done the show for 3 weeks at a performing arts center near here. I'm actually in Newburgh, New York, Orange County, and the show is at the Sugarloaf Performing Arts Center, which is Chester, a little town from here. It's a craft village, beautiful place to go. Anybody
So
has ever
Performing
heard of
Arts
it?
Center isn't like a small black box. I mean, how many seats does this thing have?
Well, there were 2 parts of it. The one part had, I think it's 450 seats, or was it 700? I can't remember. Then they had a pavilion area, which was about maybe 200 people or 150 people the most. So that's where we did Forever Plaid, because it was like a nightclub setting, and it was intimate and it was great. So we did the show there for, I think, three weeks, probably about 13, 14 performances. And then the gentleman who directed it had ties to a theater in Florida. So we took a little jaunt to Florida and did the show there for a couple of weekends, which was cool. And I got paid, and that was fun. And then I've worked with a couple of theater groups that are called equity enhanced. So they hire equity actors, professional actors, to do the lead roles, and then they'll fill in characters as they need. So I've been paid for a few of those too, because we got a little little bit of cash from doing it. So that's where I did Footloose, and I had The Secret Garden. I got some money for, because I played opposite a gentleman named Craig Schulman, who's been on Broadway in tons of shows. He was the Phantom. He was Jekyll and Hyde. He was Jean Valjean. Probably holds the record for the most performances of Jean Valjean in Les Miserables. And he and I become like brothers. So we constantly are in contact, and we've done a few different things together, Camelot, and but I got to work with this group, and they had some really wonderful people, Broadway people that I got to like work alongside of, and so kind of up my game a little bit, but
Heck yeah, man! This is awesome. being with all these people, you follow the Tonys, you know all these people. I mean, that's neat, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we have a community theater near us, and that's all I can think about. This little thing, it might be 75 seats.
Yeah.
But yeah, performing arts centers and these big venues you're doing, it's a totally different game. Yeah.
Well, they're not all that big, but you know, they're sizable. And your daughter does community theater too, right?
She is so passionate right now. That is art. She sculpts and paints for hours a day. And then she doesn't come down for breakfast till 1 o'clock. And I'm like, I got you up at 10. What have you been doing? I'm reading my script, Dad.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
Wow.
serious at 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
She's in a
Wow.
musical theater class that she likes to take. And so once she started it, she hasn't stopped. She takes every class that she can. So it's
Wow.
mega church in Richmond, Virginia, that it must hold 2,000 people.
yeah, it's pretty big.
And this stage has all the projectors, all the lighting. It's like a Broadway
Yeah, they got the
set.
setup, yeah.
Big screen
Unbelievable.
behind them, so they don't have to paint backdrops. They can just project them on the screens behind them, and it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm jealous. I want to work that theater. I want to work that stage because it's awesome. It's a great set. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, get in a show with your daughter and then you know, work your way in that way.
This is for she takes a class, it's for homeschool kids. So it's during the week. So he's kind of aged out. So
Oh, okay. Okay.
you know.
Yeah,
Well.
she's in our shows, but it's Dad's thing, and she does her bits and leaves and smiles. I told her whenever she's not smiling anymore, we've seen those magicians that bring their teenagers on stage and their
Yeah.
assistants that's just frumpy. When you're not into it anymore, you still have to come with us. We're not going to leave you at home 400 a year, but you don't have to be on stage. We're not going to make you be on stage.
Right.
But this, she somehow in her mind, because at 2 years old, Glenn, she was blowing kisses to the audience, producing silks out of my hand. Had no fear.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, as she got older,
She got shy.
signing autographs after the show. She used to compete with me at 5 years old because she would be to my left, and they would have to walk. They'd form over there. She'd sign autographs, then they'd come to me. Natalie's selling merch, so this was my way of keeping my eye on my 5-year-old, really. And I did 55 autographs, Dad. How many did you do? At 5 years old, but
Yeah.
something happened, and she just got shell. So she wanted to do this. We didn't put her in this. She wanted to do it.
Yeah, we gave her the option. I brought it up to her. I said, "Do you think you'd be interested in it?" And she was like, sure." And she wasn't quite sure, but she like, "Okay, I guess I'll try it." And signed her up, and she fell in love. She loves it. And you can tell each time they have, I mean, these classes are like about 10 weeks long. And so they work on something for 10 weeks and then put it on. So it's not a full play that they're doing, but they're doing quite a few scenes. And it's all musical, so it's musicals that they're doing. And you know, you can see from her first performance to the last one that she did just how much she's blossomed and improved, and you can tell her confidence is getting better, and she's really trying to, you know, do the movements so that you can see on stage. And she's like, because I'm like, sometimes on stage you have to exaggerate things more than you would in real life because people in the back gotta see you, you know. And so you can see she's really working on it, and she's improving. She's doing good. So, and she's really loving it. She's really loving it.
And the director
Which
threw
is
something
awesome.
at him this time and said that the kids that have been taking the classes for a while have to direct scenes this 9 weeks. So she's directing, and she told me I had to take her because Natalie can't drive right now. I had to take her to class today on the way home. She's like, "Dad, I just don't have enough time. I have to choreograph 3 people to do a dance, and it's 6 minutes or something. And it's like, I don't know how to do this, Dad, because I can't do a movement for each person. I'm not 3 people, and I just don't have enough time." And she's taking it so serious. And I'm like,
Wow.
"What is it?" She's like, "I
Next
have
week.
1 more week."
Yeah, it's next week. Yeah.
But we're happy because she got an invitation to help teach.
Yeah.
This is very special. She gets to come back and help teach the little kids next year because the teacher really likes her. And
Yeah.
Wow.
so that's cool. That's cool on our end.
And how's that going to fit in with your traveling schedule? Or it
So
doesn't?
it's all, she does the classes all on the same day. So she does the older kids and then the younger kids. So it's nice. It's all in one flow. So she'll just go and attend her class, and then she just has to stay for a little longer. And it's on Tuesdays in the middle of the day. So, and they don't do it during the summertime, which is our busiest season anyway. So
Mhm.
for the most part, I think she's made all of her classes, and she's taken quite a few. I think she's missed maybe only 3 or 4. And this lady is, laid back. She's like, you miss a class, it's okay, which is what we need for our
Mhm.
living that we do. So, but we try and make it so that she can get to all of them that she possibly can.
We'll tell customers, hey, can you do the Wednesday? Because we have something on the Tuesday. We can try to move it, but if you can do Wednesday, it'd be better.
Yeah.
And it usually works. I mean, if
Yeah.
they're doing it during the week, what's a Tuesday to a Wednesday? Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so what is are you one of those actors that has like acting styles? What
yeah,
is it?
certain method.
Yeah.
Well, wow, that's a good question.
Because different
Um,
ones, I'm sure, are different. You approach different roles differently. But some people have that method, like the guy that plays Abraham Lincoln. I can't think of his name, but everybody
Yeah.
talks.
He's the
Daniel Day-Lewis?
whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when I took Meisner, there was a lot of it I didn't get, and I know there are probably Meisner aficionados out there who are probably saying, "Oh, what do you mean you didn't get it?" Well,
What is Meisner?
Sanford Meisner had a tech. He was an acting teacher, and he taught a certain technique, and there were certain exercises that were done that were. I think at the time I didn't understand why I was doing them, but there was one exercise in particular that stood out to me, and it was called sense memory. And you would, if you needed an emotion, say sadness or anger, you think about something in your past, in your life that made you feel a certain way. And if the instructor is good, which this guy was brilliant, I mean, he will do you it's almost like a guided meditation, you know. So if I had to, he would give you a scene, and like he would see what you were weak in. So for me, it was finding sadness or whatever. So he'd give you a scene that you had to be emotion, like emotional or cry or something, and so he would have you talk about something that happened in your life, and so for me, I won't go into it too much, but it was a friend of mine who was like my dad, and he was dying of cancer, and um, it was one of the last times that I saw him. So he had me describe, well, tell me where you are, and then I tell him where I was and what I was doing, climbing up the stairs. Are there any sounds? Are there any smells? And I said, yes, there's eucalyptus, and I could smell that. And he said, okay, where are you now? And it's like I'm in the hallway heading towards the bedroom, and he'd have you remember every little thing, and then okay, you enter the bedroom, and what do you see? And I immediately started to choke up and tear, and still today I could do the same thing because you put yourself in that space, and then he says, okay, begin your scene, you know, whether it was a monologue, and then you would work from where you were in that emotion. And whereas now I can do it almost automatically. Like if I have a scene to do, I don't really use that whole technique anymore, but it was really wonderful. But I guess I've learned to do shortcuts, so I don't really have a technique that I use. I mean, I've been doing a lot of reading, James Cagney, and Cagney said the same thing. Like he had no time for um, like acting, certain techniques and stuff. He says, just be the part. Just do it, And And that's kind of how I am now. I mean, but I don't disregard any of the training that I've had, and probably it has helped out a lot. So I don't know if that answered your question
No,
or not.
no, it does. It does. I'm thinking, I remember being a little boy and my dog died. And
Yeah.
for 2 or 3 summers, anytime I thought about that dog, I could well up.
Yeah.
But as I'm older, I'm not connected to my feelings anymore like that. Like, and I can't control my feelings. I'll hear a country song driving at 3 in the morning and I'll cry like a baby.
Oh yeah.
But I
Yeah.
can't bring up an emotion. I think of my mom, think of my dad. I love my dad. My dad died when I was 25. But unless I'm exhausted, tired, I can't cry about it like on purpose. You know what I mean? So I don't have that. I think I'm not connected to my emotions. But I just heard something the other day about he has 3 names. Iron Man. Help me.
Oh, Robert Downey.
Robert Downey.
Robert Downey Jr.
They were saying that they learn their lines the day of because it's all about listening for them. So he has to be in the moment and listening because he's responding. He has that style. I don't know. That's just a different thing.
Right. Well, that's also, I mean, that's kind of you have to be able to listen because that's authentic. I mean, when you're having a conversation with somebody, unless you're in your own stuff in your head, then you're not really fully involved with that person. So the same thing, with acting. I mean, you have to listen to what they're saying. I mean, because first of all, if they mess up, you can help out maybe. But I always make a point to listen to what's being said, and they can deliver it differently at times. They can have a totally different delivery where it affects you differently. So if you're already thinking, okay, I'm going to deliver my line this way, and then it just doesn't ring true if you don't listen effectively. So that's good as
When
well.
I was in high school doing my little plays, there was no listening. I just recite my line, recite my line, recite my line. There was nothing. Natalie took it all through school. She wanted to be an actress. Tell him that story.
Oh, really?
You wanted to be an actress.
I did. I really did. I was in drama. I was very devoted to drama. And our drama department, our teacher took it very seriously. I mean, like we would stay after school for a long time, and then you get to tech week, and if you're part of one of the main characters or you were student director or anything like that, you were staying until probably 2 in the morning every morning, and you were expected to be on time to school, and your grades weren't allowed to drop. It didn't matter. You signed up for this. You knew what was going to happen. And I liked it. I liked that it was taken that seriously because I was like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And then I started thinking, oh, maybe I'd like to direct. And so I was student director for Oliver, actually, when we did Oliver. And
Okay.
that was really fun. I really enjoyed that because he would, obviously he had final say, but he would turn to us, student director, and really take into consideration your opinion of things. And so that was fun that I actually got to have a say. I wasn't just along for the ride taking notes and being like, no, he said this. I got to put my own opinions and things in there. And it was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was great. It was really fun.
I'll make fun of her because she's way taller than me. And they made her be a tree in The Wizard of Oz. And I think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I'm tall. So I'm 5'11", and
Wow.
people are 5'10". Sorry, he always tells me I'm 5'11", and I messed up.
I was like, well,
I'm 5'10". And so in high school, most of the guys that were in drama department hadn't hit growth spurt, so I was taller than most of the guys. So I never got to be a main character because they be correct, So, but I mean, I was told by my teacher at one point was like, sorry, I would, but you're too tall. I'm like, oh, like, come on.
Wow.
Milk crate or something. Like, put them in heels,
But I got her on stage.
Okay.
She's on stage with me, Glenn.
Yeah.
I got her.
Yep.
And I'm sure she directs you too.
Oh,
You know?
100%. She's always, yeah. If I get a tick, like I'm saying like or something in my shows, she'll call me out on it and thank you
Yeah.
because I don't see it, and that really helps my show. It helps it a lot. Yeah. So I don't know where else to go. What are you doing? Are you texting during a podcast?
Yes, your daughter.
My daughter's in the other room. What are you saying, Lana?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
She's probably critiquing what I said about her. I'm not directing to people. I'm directing to Six Dad. Something like that. So while we're talking about her, what would you recommend Lana to see in musicals? What musicals would you recommend her to see?
Oh, wow.
Hamilton. She is crazy in love with Hamilton.
It's funny. I was going to wear that shirt tonight, Hamilton. So when it came out, I'm of a generation where we didn't grow up listening to rap music or that type of music, and I'm like, I wasn't really so totally set on it, but then I happened to watch it on Disney and I fell in love with it. And Barbara, my fiance, she's not home right now, but she, for a birthday present, took us to see Hamilton on Broadway, and
Wow.
it was wonderful. And now I have Sirius Radio, so anytime the songs come on, I love them. I don't know what took me so long, but I think it's a great thing that he's done. Manuel Miranda,
Yeah.
because he's made history palatable to a group of children, teens who might not have really, wanted to know that much, but if maybe that musical led to them wanting to know more about our country or past presidents or something like that. I just think it's brilliant. I love the music. So, but there's a show called Come From Away, and I don't know if it's playing anywhere near you, but if you ever get a chance to see it, it's about, it takes place on 9/11 when the airplanes are diverted to an island. What is the name of the island? Gander. Gosh, I should know. It's like Nova Scotia or someplace. And there's like 30 airliners that fly into this little island, and they have to stay there because they can't go back into the air again. And they literally stay for like 2 or 3 days, and the townspeople get together and like cook them meals and give them lodging, and it's just how this town embraced everybody, all these airline passengers. And it's funny, it's sad, it's the music is incredible. It's done without intermission. We saw it on Broadway, and it was like 90 minutes just flew by incredibly fast. So if your daughter gets a chance to see that, or you guys, you would love it. And I think, oh, where was it? It was on, I think it might be on Disney. I think it might be on one of the channels broadcast. Oh, no, Channel 13 had. No, I'm sorry. You have to look it up.
It was called Come What? Come Fly?
Come From Away.
Come From Away.
Yep. Great show. So I'm hoping, they're going to be doing that in a little theater company near me. So I'm hoping to audition for that. There's a part of the mayor of the town that's a nice little role. And actually, like 16 people play like 61 or 81 people. I mean, it's incredible. They all have so many different characters they have to do, and there's really no set, but what they do is magical. So yeah, that's a show I would say definitely see. What else? The show that my friends of mine are trying to get to see, we're going to, it's called The Last Ship, Sting's musical.
I totally didn't get that. He texted me, he said, I have a group chat with friends about what show we're going to see. I totally thought Magic. I just now got the reference. It's not
Yeah, no, well, our cast from A Few Good Men have remained very close friends, and I'm on this chat group, and I mean, it's all hours of the night. They're chatting back and forth, and it's a great group of people. So we're all arranging to see this show together, and we're trying to figure out the best time and where everybody's going to sit, and we'll all take the train down and maybe have dinner in the city and see the show. It'll be great. I don't know much about the show. I mean, I like Sting, so I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see.
And what
But
show?
it's called The Last Ship,
Huh.
and I can't even tell you what it's about. To be honest with you, I haven't. I'm such a theater girl. I haven't even looked it up. But
Sometimes that's the ones that blow you away because you have no expectation.
right, I didn't know much about Come From Away, the same thing, and yeah, it totally blew us away. And what else?
That's from 21.
I don't know. There's anything has reasons to see it. I mean, I've seen some bad stuff that had some good things about it. So I mean,
Just like magic.
yeah,
I go
yeah,
to every lecture, and people are like, "Really? You're gonna go see his lecture? There might be a nugget in it. There might be a nugget.
yeah,
Look, yeah."
yeah.
So
So I mentioned,
what advice
sorry.
what advice would you give someone like Lana, like a teenager like Lana, who wants to go into theater or wants to go into acting as their full-time job? What advice would you give them moving forward?
So, um, so much of it, like there's a gentleman that we went to see. He's a Broadway guy. He's done tons of shows. And I happened to listen to him talk to young kids about things to do. And the kid goes, "Yeah, I'm going to college. And I'm going to get a theater major, and I'm going to do this." And he said, "Why?" And the kid like looked at him kind of funny. He goes, "Well," here's my story. He said, "I went to school and I got a theater major. My friend took a different trajectory. Out of high school, he just started to audition, got out, put himself out there, and he was way further ahead, by how many years? 4 years or something like that." So, and he said it really doesn't, he didn't think it helped him, but I mean, for people that need that kind of background and training, I'm not dissuading them from doing that. And I didn't do that. I mean, I didn't, and I'm not professional, so I can't really say definitively what is a good choice. It all depends on the individual, but I would encourage if there's somebody that if she's doing community theater, find a mentor, somebody that you can work scenes with, or if there's an acting teacher in your area. It might take a while to find a good one. And if she wants to take voice lessons, it's not a bad thing to do either. Um,
She's gonna
uh,
start next
Starting-
semester.
Yep.
oh yeah,
But running lines with a friend scares me. She's a teenager. Dad's got to approve this, Glenn.
well, Natalie could do it with her too. I mean, she
Yeah.
could, you know,
That's a slippery
but
slope.
then it could,
Running those lines. That scares me.
yeah,
Dad.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's great that she has that passion. I mean, and for me, I don't know what my life would have been without it. I mean, I still would have loved magic. The funny thing is that when I started to do theater, I mean, I used to eat, sleep, and breathe magic. And I mean, I'd go to all the conventions and all the meetings and stuff. But when I started to do shows, and it was like I didn't have time for magic anymore, and I turned my back on it. And um, then I had a daughter, Mallory. She's now 30. She'll be 31 this year, in May. This is the end of this month. But when she came around, I didn't do much theater either. So what I did do was started bringing out all my magic stuff, and started reading the books again, and started to watch videos, and then I got involved in going back to the Society of American Magicians, and then so I had the both of them. I had theater and magic, but still theater takes a place in my heart because I don't know. I mean, it's escapism, you know, it's a way to be somebody you're not, you know. I mean, I'm an electrician by trade and, you know, it's been a great career. I mean, I've done it for 49 years, 48 years. I currently and have worked at the United States Military Academy for 44 years as an electrician. So, and then on the outside, I call it the outside, like I'm in prison or something, but it was construction work before that. But you know, it's been a great career. And when I retire, I want to do, there's a lot of stuff happening in my area, in Orange County and Dutchess County. There's a lot of film crews that are constantly doing stuff. There's TV series that are being filmed here. Best Medicine, if you've ever seen the show. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And not too far away is HBO's The Gilded Age is being filmed in Troy, New York, which is not a horrible trip from me. So I do want to do some of that, maybe extra work. I don't know. You know, we'll see. I Broadway's kind of out for me. I could never do that anymore. But I wouldn't mind doing. There are a lot of companies around who will hire non-equity actors for character roles and stuff like that. And I could very easily see myself doing some of that. So
Why do you think Broadway's out?
um, well, to be honest with you, I'm 65. And it
But
takes.
there's
Sorry.
always roles for 65-year-olds though, and you got Grandpa
Yeah.
Joe in Chocolate Factory,
Yes, there
and
are,
you
but
can
all
dance.
those.
And you can dance. Grandpa Joe.
I can't dance much. My friends would tell you that. It's
Okay.
kind of funny. But so you're looking at people who've done leads on Broadway, you know, as let's say 30-year-olds, you know, 40-year-olds that are now in the same age group I am. The roles are few and far between. So you would be competing with these people who've been on Broadway in all these, you know, great shows. You know, but it's in one way, those people who've been doing it their entire lives may say, you know what, maybe it's time to hang up the shoes or whatever, you know, and do something else. I mean, a good friend of mine is at that point in his career now. It's like, you know, the roles aren't coming in for me anymore. You know, meanwhile, he was doing, you know, everything well, since he got out of college, he's been working and he's now in his 70. He's 70 years old. So, but it's a little sad when you face that reality that you're no longer right for some roles. I mean, I even find that for myself doing community theater. It's like, well, I can't do the ingenues anymore, but there are some great roles for people my age, you know, but there are also a lot of competition. So, but
Have you always just done the acting, or have you ever done anything, you know, behind the scenes, like lighting or set design or anything like that?
yes, yeah. I graduated from Goshen High School, a little school, and I was called one of the first theater companies I worked for. It was called Wright Workshops. Our chorus director from high school, which I didn't even take chorus, he started a little summer venture with doing 3 shows in a row, and he called it Wright Workshops. So you would audition for a show, and you'd be cast for all 3 shows, you know, as different roles. He wouldn't have, you know, auditions for every single show. So I was cast in all 3 shows, but so I got to know my chorus teacher very well. We became very close friends, and he'd say, you know, he'd like say, hey, I need a prop or I need this, and I'd go home, I'd build it, I'd bring it in the next day or something, and then he's like, I didn't know you did this. So I'm kind of handy, you know. So he had mentioned he was going to do like Oklahoma. Oh, Pippin was the first show that I did sets for. So I designed and built sets for Pippin. I did some Man La Mancha. I did Oklahoma. We built the Surrey, you know, the wagon that comes out on stage. And I had a very talented group of fathers that were willing to help. But I would have prints and plans, and this is what I want to do, my ideas. And I did sets for Camelot. And the gentleman who was my voice teacher at the time, Ron DeFeasy, is a Renaissance man. The guy, he went to Juilliard. He was an opera singer. He could choreograph, terrific actor. He could paint. So he would paint some of my sets. I did On Your Toes. And we took that set to Albany and we did a live production of it on the concourse in Albany where all the politicians and the Senate houses and stuff like that. So we did the show at nighttime. That was a big kind of a fun thing to do. So so yes, I have designed and built sets.
Was that an outside venue, the concourse? That was outside?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So we had some parents who had trucks that were willing to transport the stuff. We put it up, and it was a movable set. So there wasn't a lot of large set pieces, but, and I had a small role in the show as well. I played a Russian dance, the owner of the company, the dance company, and he was Russian. So it was a fun little role, but, that brings up a story. Sorry. So I got all this experience building the sets, and I'm pretty handy. I mean, doing electric work, you kind of have to, cut things and do things. And so, I could use tools, let's put it that way. And Rudy and I went to the Tannins Jubilee, which was held at the Browns Hotel in Loch Sheldrake, upstate from us a little bit, where Jeff McBride grew up, and then he moved to Goshen sometime after. But they would have a convention there every year. And one year, I think it was 1983, David Copperfield was the headliner. So Rudy and I had gone to see Copperfield, I think in 80, maybe it was 81, 1980, he did a movie called Terror Train. So Rudy and I went to see the movie, and another skill that I have is, and I shouldn't say this, but lock picking. So the movie had ended its course. There was an outside poster container. I picked the lock. We took the poster with us after the show, at nighttime. So I had the poster of Terror Train for, a while. And I brought it with me to Tannins Jubilee, hoping that David would sign it. So we're sitting outside of the dining room where David is having his dinner, and there's a gentleman that was sitting next to Rudy and I, and the guy, he said to us, like, well, what do you have there? And I showed him a poster, and he goes, wow. He said, can I buy that from you? And it's like, I don't want to sell it. I want to have David sign it. And he's like, well, he offered me, I think, like $35. And I'm like, I really don't want to sell it. Then he offered me, and at 1980, that was a bit of money. So he offered me more money, and then he offered me more money. And I'm like, no, I don't want to sell it. I said, it's really important to me. He says, I'll tell you why I'd like it. He said, I'm David's godfather. So I'm like, wow. And I ended up, I said to him, well, you know what? And I gave it to him. And he says, really? You're just going to give it to me? I said, yeah. I mean, it means a lot to you. Have it. And he goes, I'll tell you what. He said, after the show tonight, come back to the table where, he said, I'll be there with David's parents. He said, David will come to our table. He said, I'll introduce you, and, you can have whatever, chat and whatever. So I said, okay, great. So that happened. And David came up to the table, and I asked him for a job. I'm like, hey, I'm pretty handy. I can, do electric, I can do carpentry, I can paint and, do sets and stuff. I said, do you need somebody to be on your crew? And he's like, Mom, he said, whatever, he's give me a card. He wrote out a card, the address to send my resume to. And I still have the card. It was David Copperfield Productions, East Metuchen, New Jersey at the time. And I left Tannins and never did anything with it. I didn't have a resume. I didn't do one, and but I won't say that I would have ever worked for him, because obviously he's got some really high caliber people, and I was, I'm like this local yokel, but it was a neat opportunity to meet him and talk with him, and I had a great time. So
at 17 years old, I did pocket pudding on David Copperfield as he's leaving the place. And he's heading to his thing. He's signing autographs. And I wrote on the back of my business card, I'll be an assistant. I'll iron your clothes. I'll do whatever needs to be done. I just want to be a part of it. But I pocket put it. And my brother just thought that was so awesome.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah. To be a part of that after seeing that show, it's like, I'm a magician. I know magic. I would love to help in any way I can. Please. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Cool. So cool. But I have notes here that I've taken during the thing. One of the notes was, that's how great of a guy you are that he returned the Houdini book to the library. Because so many people we've interviewed, they kept those books because they're taking the knowledge out of the public. It's too good. The public shouldn't have it. But he returned it. And then he tells 45 minutes later, he's good at picking locks and stealing posters.
Well, with the Houdini stuff, you know, I mean, I read that he was an escape artist, and I emulated Houdini, you know, and I still have the paperback book. It was called The Great Houdini by Beryl Williams and Samuel Epstein. I may be getting it wrong, but it was a paperback book that I read cover to cover, probably as much as my daughter has read the Harry Potter series. You know, I mean, I would read it constantly, and you know, I thought it was kind of. My dad had a shed out and back, and he had a lot of old locks and stuff like that. I'd play around with them and try to open them, and I learned how to do it on my own. Again, you didn't have the internet, so you kind of fooled around with stuff, and then I worked at a hardware store and during my high school years, for a couple of years there, and the owner of the hardware store was the gentleman who died of cancer, and he was like my dad, and he had a safe, you know, that he would have in the office, and it was always open. And it's like, oh, you have a cat. My cat looks exactly like your cat.
Oh, yeah?
She's looking out the window now. That's wonderful. But he had a safe that was constantly open, and I'm like, why don't you ever lock it? He goes, I lost the combination. So one lunchtime, I'm back there fooling around, and I took the plate off, and I lined up the discs and whatever, and wrote the combination down and tried it out, and it worked, you know, and I showed him, well, here's the combination. He goes, put it back the way it was, son. He said, I don't want to ever, you know, forget, and, you know, whatever. But I was able to do that, you know, and I was 17, 16 years old.
Wow. That had a great feeling. Golly, that must have been, yeah.
But Houdini had said that safes were not meant to
escape from, but get into. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. But no, I never did anything nefarious with stealing anything that I shouldn't have by unlocking. My daughter locked herself out of her apartment once, and I was able to get her back into her apartment. So, I mean, it's come in handy sometimes. But
wow. Yeah. Well, you were talking about the Hamilton. I got notes here from the thing. You're talking about Hamilton and how much it influenced people to learn about history. We're homeschooling, so she has to do a
research paper every year, yeah.
A research paper. So she wanted to do it on Burr and Hamilton and all that. Was her paper this year. Totally influenced her to do that because she loves Hamilton so much. And have you ever done any directing at all?
Once. It was for my church. We did a series of play readings, and then somebody suggested to me, Glenn, we want to do love letters, but we'd like, you know, to have somebody direct it. And love letters is it's just a series of letters between two people, a husband and a wife, over many years. Were they my husband and wife? God, I'm even forgetting that now. Well, they met as kids. They reestablished a relationship in college. They went on to different relationships. It goes back and forth through an entire lifetime. And the couple that was cast in the show they were octogenarians, and he was the interim rector for our church, and she was, you know, she did a bunch of stuff for our church. And I directed the two of them, and it was the most rewarding experience I've ever had, because you're only meant to rehearse it maybe 2 or 3 times and just wing it, because everything's read, but there's so much little details in the letters that you know, you need to be brought out, and emotions. And so we had like 6 or 7 rehearsals. They wanted that kind of rehearsal period, but each time I listened to it, I thought of something different. I said, well, try this or do this. And they were very complimentary of my directing, but I just, for me, I don't know that I'd be that comfortable doing a small show like that. Was fine. And I'd never done it before, but I kind of knew how it should be played in my own mind, and it went very well. I mean, so yeah, it was my first and last directorial job. So,
But like high school plays and things like that. You ever thrown your hat in the ring and tried to?
um, see, well, around here, there are a lot of established. In fact, my alma mater, they have a wonderful gentleman there who's taken the reins after Paul Wright left. My mentor and the guy who I did the first shows with. The gentleman who took his place after a few years, there have been a couple of other teachers, has done a tremendous job with the kids. And I mean, it's a great theater. They have, like your daughter has a church theater. They have a state-of-the-art theater in my old high school now. And it's like, my God, I would love to work on the stage. It's beautiful. But I think a lot of sometimes the teachers do the shows, that have a love for it. I mean, they make a little stipend, not much. I mean, it's a lot of time donated for a little amount of money. But the teachers that do it in my area have been doing it for years because they love it. They're good at it, and I mean, just a great experience. I mean, we went to see Spamalot this year in my old high school, and I was like, oh my God, it was incredible how professionally done it was. I mean, it was like you would see stuff like this in touring companies or something, the stuff that they did. Yeah. So, but no, I don't think that I'd love to be on stage. As far as lighting, I mean, yeah, I could probably do lighting in the company where I work the most, County Players. They do some great stuff in Dutchess County, Wapshire Falls. They're always looking for people to do lighting or sound or something like that. And it's something I might consider when I retire. But for now, I think I want to be on stage till I no longer can, or whatever. I mean, it's always something I can do. So.
There's I don't know. I'm out of the blue here because I've only been told about it. There's like an Amish play company. They do like Christian stuff somewhere up north. Is that Pennsylvania? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sight and Sound Theater,
Yeah.
Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Have you been?
Have not been there, but that's a destination that I love to go to sometime. Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, they get hundreds of people in those shows, and their special effects. I mean, the sets, unlike I mean, they're better than Broadway. I mean, the stuff that they do, it's usually a one set thing, but it's like if it's Noah's Ark, it's like the size of a football field, or at least looks that way online. And
Well,
yeah,
let's set up a double date. Let's
should.
do it. Let's do it. I'll bring the whole family up. We'll go up there.
Yeah,
Fun. Yeah.
Because you've never been. Let's all go together.
we should. We
Yeah.
should.
Like you only hear good things about it. So.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've talked about it so
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did it like yearly because they do like I think they
Yeah.
do it like a new one every year.
Yeah, I thought it was more than one show, like they do a Christmas show, or Easter show, maybe something like that. So, but it's hard to imagine that they could do something that big and then turn around and do something else. So maybe it is only one show a year. I'll have to do a little research on it. But
Wow. So my only other note I had here, because we're running out of time here, Glenn, is costumes. When I'm on stage, even Halloween, I just put on a costume. I become that person. That helps me. I don't have, you know what I mean? I'm not acting.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
playing. But when I put a costume on, I can morph a little bit. You know what I mean? How is that for you? Is the costume help you?
Yeah, same way. I mean, before I started acting too, we had like, you'd go to a Halloween dance or something, and I'd like put a mask on or dress up as something, like totally assume the character, and people would be like, I had no clue that was you, because I'd hold myself a different way, and it was just something innate that you didn't think about. I mean, for the Boy Scouts, I used to help out with Boy Scouts, and we did a haunted trail, and I played Jason. And I mean, literally, I set myself up in a little spot in the forest, and I put the mask on. And I had a friend who had the overalls that looked like Jason's things, the old black work boots, and I positioned myself against a tree in a position that you could not, like a normal human body couldn't hold for very long. So people look at me and say, no, that's not a person, because it was so uncomfortable to be in that position for the length of time. And I wouldn't like pop out at every group. I'd let groups go by me, and then all of a sudden I just like, come out of it and spring toward them or something. They'd scream. So people in front of them would say, where'd that come from? So yeah, dressing like that, and true, when you're in a show and you rehearse, like even the last show we did, the Few Good Men, I've done that show twice. Every time I put on that Marine uniform, there's just something. I mean, if my posture's bad, automatically, you do what you just turn into that character. But yeah, costumes are great. I've had to make my own costumes sometimes, so that or alter them. But yeah,
Wow.
that does it for me too. In the makeup, I mean, I've done everything from an Asian to old men. Back when I I had to do the old age makeup. Now I don't, because of the hair and everything else. But it's all part of it. That
Yeah,
does
the
kind of.
wig. You put a wig on. I'm that person. My
Yeah.
first year away from home, I was 18 years old, and I was hired to work at a farm for a Halloween type thing, scaring people. But I created a whole bunch. I did needle through the arm, right? Piercings at the beach could be so expensive. I'll do it for free. I had my nipples pierced, my belly button pierced, my ears, my nose, and I was playing a violin through my arm, and all of them were bleeding. I was bad, right? But during the day, they wanted me to do a daytime character because they had 12,000 kids going through there picking pumpkins and riding hay rides. What am I going to do? I don't want to do a character. I'm a magician. I'll just be on stage doing magic. No, we want you to dress like a wizard. I don't want to be a wizard. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't want to be a wizard. For some reason, Glenn, and this makes no sense even to me today, a magic scarecrow makes more sense. So I had to put the yellow paint on, burlap outfit, but I became this. I wouldn't go to the bathroom because a scarecrow doesn't pee. You know what I mean? I wouldn't. There's so many things I wouldn't do, and it was just in my head. Yeah, scarecrow doesn't pee. So it was just
Right.
I became a magic scarecrow. It was so funny, and I was talking to the kids, and I became a little. I was just built in the woods, so yeah, I would get my things wrong because I'm young. I was just built last fall. Yeah,
Right.
it's funny.
Right.
It's funny
That's
how
funny.
you can just you write the script, just write everything's just laid out right there.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, dude, this has been awesome. Like I said, I knew time was gonna fly by. I got four
Oh
pages.
my God.
We didn't get to any of them. I love you, dude.
Oh,
You're the best.
I love you too. I really do. I mean, I look forward to seeing you're going to be amazed this year.
I am. I am. People aren't happy about the dates this year, but what are you gonna do? It'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it'll be what it is. I'll attend, I'm sure. I mean, it's the only convention. I didn't make it last year, I don't think, but it's the only convention, that and NemCon, that I try to get to, but this will be the first time in a long time that I've gone. So it'll be good.
Well, come
So
on, come on. I'll see you there.
I will, definitely.
Where
Thank
can
you,
people,
Natalie. Thank
where
you.
can people find out about your plays and when the next one? Do you have anywhere that you post them?
Um, Geez,
You,
I have a Facebook account, but
do you post
I
about
don't.
events? Do you
What's
post your
that?
events on your Facebook?
I do every now and then. Yes. Yeah, I do. But I'm one of these people who are not very tech savvy, as you could tell when we tried to get on today, and so I haven't learned to do that kind of stuff. Where that's very important for your daughter too. If she's pursuing theater, that she knows how to do all this technical stuff that I have no clue about. You
And
know.
promote and get people out, get butts in seats. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All
I mean,
right.
I do post it out, on Facebook with my friends and stuff, and they come, some come. So, yeah.
Awesome. You're the best, man. Thank you so much. I think that wraps everything up. The only thing we have left to say is see you next week.
Thank you.
Check us out online at wesisley.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled Wesiseli.